Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful roadmap for education, one that's all about transforming students from just learners into real industry-ready innovators. It's a vision for closing that all-too-common gap between what we learn in school and what we need for the real world. This pretty much says it all, right? It's not about memorizing facts for a test. It's about nurturing students so they can think for themselves, be confident in their ideas, and be ready to hit the ground running from day one. And this vision, it tackles a problem I think most of us have felt at some point. You know that feeling, right? When you're sitting in a classroom and you just can't see how any of it connects to real life? Well, that's the gap we're talking about. This whole approach is designed to build a solid bridge right over it, making every lesson feel relevant and useful. So, how do you actually build a bridge like that? Well, it all starts with laying a really strong foundation, and not with concrete and steel, but with a clear set of core principles. It really rests on these 4 pillars. An inclusive and supportive atmosphere is absolutely huge because it creates a safe space, a space where students aren't afraid to try things, to ask questions, and even to fail sometimes. Because here, failure isn't the end, it's just a step on the path to growth. All right, with that foundation in place, let's get to the first big framework for making this vision a reality. It's called the 3P culture. And it's a simple but really effective blueprint for growth. Now, this is not a checklist, it's a cycle that just keeps going. Plan, perform, and perfect. Students learn to think ahead and plan, then they actually go and do the thing, and then, and this is the key part, they perfect it based on feedback and reflection. It teaches them how to improve, which is so much more valuable than just being told what to learn. Okay, now this is where things get really clever. Take a look at this. It's like 2 sides of the same coin. For the student, you've got plan, perform, perfect. And for the institution, it lines up perfectly with purpose, process, and people. It shows that the entire organization is built to support that student's journey. Everything is aligned. So let's add another powerful tool into the mix. This one's borrowed from the world of innovation and technology, but it works brilliantly in the classroom. We're talking about design thinking. So what is design thinking really? At its heart, it's about empathy. It completely reframes the teacher's role. You're no longer just a lecturer, you're a designer, and your product is the learning experience. The student is your user. So the goal shifts from just delivering a curriculum to designing something that actually solves the student's problems. And you can see how that plays out right here. You start by empathizing, actually listening to what students are struggling with. Then you define the real problem. You brainstorm ideas, often with the students. Then you prototype a solution, like a new kind of project. And finally, you test it and get feedback to make it even better. It's a loop. And here's the real payoff. When you combine that 3P culture with design thinking, you're not just teaching biology or history. You're building an entrepreneurial mindset. You're teaching students how to see a problem, creatively come up with a solution, and keep improving it. That's not a classroom skill. That is the life skill. So we have the big ideas, we have the frameworks, but what does this actually look like day to day? How do we get from these classroom philosophies to actual career readiness? This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about getting students out of their seats and getting their hands dirty. We're talking about things like hackathons, internships, and mini projects where they work on real-world problems. They're collaborating with actual companies. Every one of these is another solid plank in that bridge to their career. And a really critical piece of this is making sure that bridge is accessible to everyone. That means putting a special focus on helping students from rural backgrounds who might be facing their own unique challenges. It's about creating those safe spaces, maybe even using local languages to make sure every single student has a voice. And this is the result. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a real outcome. You get to see students who might have been hesitant at first find their confidence and get up to present their work at symposiums right alongside everyone else. It's just a powerful reminder of what real inclusion can do. Of course, one teacher can't do this alone. It takes the whole institution getting behind it. And that's what you see here. The entire system is set up for support, from academics based on design thinking to a dedicated center for creativity. Every pillar is there to hold up that mission of empowering students. So what does the ideal graduate look like in this model? Well, they fit this 3C competency circle. It means they're well-rounded. Yes, they have the technical skills, but they also have logical and business skills. And just as important, they have the right attitude. They're curious and accountable. It's about being the whole package. This quote, This really gets to the heart of it all. It's a complete shift in identity. You're not just someone who gives out information anymore. You're a guide. You're a mentor who is personally invested in that student's growth journey. So when you put it all together, what you have isn't just a new teaching method. It's more like a self-sustaining ecosystem. It's an engine that's built to create innovation, to make sure everyone is included, and to wire that idea of continuous growth right into the DNA of every student. And that really leaves us with a big question to think about. Just imagine, for a second, what our future would look like if every student had a roadmap like this. If every educational experience was this intentional, this supportive, and this focused on preparing them not just for a job, but for a successful life.